Prime Minister Rishi Sunak fired his divisive Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, and named Mr. Cameron, the former Prime Minister, as Foreign Secretary. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak of Britain on Monday fired Suella Braverman, one of his most senior and divisive ministers, in a reshuffle of his top team that brought one of his predecessors, David Cameron, unexpectedly back into government as the Foreign Secretary. The return of Mr. Cameron to a senior political post was an extraordinary turn for the former Prime Minister and the latest in a series of convulsions that have rocked the governing Conservative Party in recent years. After 13 years in Downing Street, the party's grip on power appears to be slipping ahead of a general election next year, with Mr. Sunak failing to reverse a substantial deficit in the opinion polls against the Labour Party, the economy stagnating, and Britain's public sector under acute strain after years of Conservative-led austerity. As Prime Minister, Mr. Cameron instigated the 2016 referendum that led to Britain's departure from the European Union. After campaigning for Britain to remain in the bloc, he resigned when voters chose by a narrow margin to leave. Since then, the party has had a succession of leaders and has been plagued by discord. Ms. Braverman was long a divisive figure in the party for her provocative rhetoric and hardline stance on immigration. That won her support on the right while alienating more moderate colleagues. Critics had argued that Ms. Braverman, who as Home Secretary had been responsible for law enforcement, immigration and national security, had stirred tensions by publishing a contentious opinion article last week ahead of a huge, pro-Palestinian demonstration in London on Saturday. In that article, she referred to protesters as hate marchers, and criticized the police. Here are the latest developments. James Cleverly, who had held the position of Foreign Secretary, replaced Ms. Braverman at the Home Office, according to Downing Street. And there have been a number of other moves. Ms. Braverman is widely viewed as a possible candidate to replace Mr. Sunak as party leader if he fails to win a looming general election. Some analysts said the return of Mr. Cameron was aimed at returning the party to a more moderate footing. Mr. Cameron said he had gladly accepted the post of Foreign Secretary at a moment when Britain faces a daunting set of international challenges, including the war in Ukraine and the crisis in the Middle East. In a statement, Mr. Cameron noted that he may have disagreed with some of Mr. Sunak's decisions in the past but called him a strong and capable Prime Minister, showing exemplary leadership. Since Mr. Cameron is no longer an elected Member of Parliament, Downing Street said that he would be given a place in the House of Lords, the essentially consultative second chamber of Parliament, in order to become Foreign Secretary.